We are back with Justin Pheng, who's going to talk to me a little bit about his music video at the Utah International Film Festival. So tell me, what is the music video? Tell me a little bit about it.
Sure. Yeah, it's a jazz music video. It started when we were approached by a local musician from Prescott, Arizona.
Okay.
He went to the same high school as my cinematographer, so he reached out to us, and he wanted to do something that was bigger in scope than he'd done before. And this was a great opportunity for us to try and prove to ourselves that we were capable of doing like a bigger project outside of school. And so yeah, that was the genesis of that project.
Very cool. How do you feel like it went? Like as far as just the whole process?
Well, it certainly took a lot longer than we anticipated. He reached out to us in, I'd say, like November of 2023, and we didn't shoot until July of 2024.
Okay.
Yeah, so like 8 months, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your pre-production like for a music video?
Pre-production. So my cinematographer and I, we determined that it'd be a lot more visually intensive than a narrative short would be. So a lot of it didn't need to make sense narratively. It was just a vehicle for us to have fun in terms of the cinematography. So in that regard, a lot of the camera setups were bigger in terms of logistics than we anticipated. I said this a bunch during pre-production, but I was thinking that creativity cost a lot, not necessarily just in terms of price, but as well as like logistics. So yeah, it's way harder than a narrative is, but
interesting.
Very, very satisfying in the end, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This beautiful piece of visual art that's like, yeah, well, and music, you know, it's. Are you happy with the product that you came out with?
Yeah. The idea behind the song was that it's very chaotic, and it has different elements, different solos for each instrument, and we try to see how we could generate images that complemented the chaotic nature of the song.
Very cool.
And I think we nailed it.
Awesome.
A lot of camera movement for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm very happy with it for sure.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Were there any big bumps that you came up against, big obstacles during your shoot that you kind of had to weave and kind of figure out?
Most definitely. The one that comes to mind is the bar that we were shooting at. They had their own piano, their own standing piano, but we weren't allowed to move it or use it since it was theirs and they paid for it. So my producer and I, she lived in Glendale, and we luckily found a piano for free, but the location we were shooting at was an hour away. So we had to devise a plan to move this really heavy piano from Glendale an hour away and shoot it for 3 days in a row.
Wow.
Luckily, they let us leave it overnight, but
that was nice of them.
it was very nice. But we had about like 10 people moving this piano just so we could use it for 3 days.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that sounds fun. But that's filmmaking, right?
It's a fun story afterwards for sure.
Yeah.
But
At the
yeah.
time, it's like,
At the
what are
time-
we gonna do?
yeah, it was one of those moments where I was like, why am I making everyone do this work for me? But I think everyone was really proud of that. And it is a fun story to tell for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Now tell me about your experience a little bit with kind of like what got you to where you are right now. You went to film school. Tell me a little bit about that.
So yeah, I only started going to film school in 2022, and I had basically little to no experience prior in filmmaking. I was an intern at a production house for about a year, and I wasn't getting much experience there. I was just editing. I was an assistant editor. But yeah, I wanted to get more hands-on in production. So I went to Scottsdale Community College in Arizona, and it was a great program. I studied there for 2 years. And after those 2 years, I felt that I learned a lot in my time there. So yeah, my cinematographer and I, we worked on this project for about 8 months, and we're really excited to put it all together. And yeah, that's most of the experience I've had so far.
Okay, excellent. So you're kind of new to the industry. It's exciting. There's so much ahead of you.
Yeah.
What's next for you?
What's next? So I joined a production company with my friends, one of my producers on the music video, Maria Jose Martinez, and we're producing more music videos and more short films in the Arizona scene. And yeah, we are producing another short film for a friend of ours. We're starting pre-production now, and we're hoping to shoot in March.
Excellent. Very exciting. So you primarily are a director. You don't, or what's your, like, what would be your fantasy job in film?
Fantasy job. I certainly do love directing. It's just hard for me to find ideas that I can really get behind. And that means I would have to write them, but I'm also really lazy, so that never happens. But I get a lot out of producing. Producing is very fun. It's very stressful, but it's very satisfying to put these big projects in place and at the end of it come out with a really satisfying project.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
so
cool.
directing, producing is usually, yeah.
Yeah, I think go hand in hand for sure.
Certainly.
You can produce your own stuff.
Yes.
Have control everywhere.
Yes, yeah. But the other thing is I'm just inspired by ideas. I don't like business. My brain doesn't work that way. So my right-hand woman, Maria Jose, she does a lot of that work for me. So it's very nice.
Good. It takes a team.
It certainly does.
And I'm sure you're already finding that you have kind of a team of people that you already are working with all the time, which is very cool.
I'm very happy with our dynamic. I don't like rules. I'm really bad about them. I kind of do whatever I want to do, and my team reels me back whenever it's necessary, for sure.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you learned making this music video that you think will help you with future projects? Any kind of lessons that were like, okay, duly noted, we need to make sure we have a piano?
Yeah, yeah, pianos. Probably no more pianos in the next projects, but
so no kids, no animals, and no pianos.
yeah, if you want to make something easy, for sure.
Right.
Let's see. I do think there's a lot of value in the amount of time you're in pre-production. Your production is only as good as your pre-production, and that's certainly, I learned that a lot during this process. But moving forward, that's more reassuring because you're going to have a lot less hiccups in that regard. So. Yeah, spending time, good amount of time in pre-productions is a great way to go.
That's a good lesson. All right. Anything else that we didn't cover about your music video or anything about the festival screen? Has it been screened yet?
Yeah, it screened earlier today.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
It was really cool to see it on something other than my monitor at home. And yeah, certainly watching it with other people around that haven't seen it a million times.
Yeah.
Seeing their reactions was very gratifying.
Love that.
Yeah, so
Well,
I'm hoping to show it to more people and see if I can get the same reaction.
Yeah, well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Before you go, I'm going to ask you for a fun fact
Sure.
about you.
A fun fact about me?
Yeah. Yeah, something surprising,
Fun fact.
interesting.
I feel like the only interesting thing about me is
Like a pet, a weird hobby, a strange...
weird. Well, I guess if there's a fun fact, it might be that filmmaking is my second love.
Okay.
The first would be music.
Ah.
I really, really enjoyed music production.
Okay.
I think the more projects I produce in the future will have a lot of care towards music. I think it's half of the film. Sound is like half of the film, and music is very important. So, yeah, and given that it's my first love, I think I'm gonna be. I love music videos. I think I'll be doing those a lot more often. But yeah,
Very cool.
Half musician, half filmmaker.
Which
I guess.
music videos are kind of seems like you're in your sweet spot.
Yeah, most certainly.
Good for you. All right, well, thank you for talking to me.
Yeah.
We are going to have more filmmakers and people in the business to talk to at the Utah International Film Festival.